You're very welcome to Virgin Media Park for the second of today's two clashes in the Celtic Challenge Cup. And if the spring has come elsewhere, it certainly doesn't feel like it down in Cork. It's wintry, it's cold, the rain has started to come in. Will that affect the game? We don't know. The clash is between a Glasgow side still hunting for their first win in the competition and against the Clovers team hunting down a top spot in the league. Shortly we'll be catching up with the coaches of the match. We'll be kicking off here. Clovers versus Glasgow at 3:30 in Virgin Media Park. So my co-commentator today is the Ireland legend Niamh Briggs. Niamh, this game, I mean, it's been a tough outing really for Glasgow since the start of the competition. Clovers look like a team in the mood to do some damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the Glasgow team are a very young team. I think Scottish Rugby is trying to build these pathways, and lots of them, obviously because of the university in Edinburgh and that, they tend to kind of gravitate towards Edinburgh. So, but I think Glasgow have improved week on week, every week they've been playing. I know that the game against the Clovers away was cancelled at the time because of the storm. I think they've given that a draw. I don't think that's going to be refixed. So they've got points on the board now, and will definitely take a little bit of confidence from it.
In terms of the match that was on earlier on here today, unexpected in the sense that, you know, you would have thought the Wolfhounds are going to tear away with this as a 5-pointer. They didn't get 5 points, they got the win. Is that the kind of thing that affects the mentality of the Clovers team coming into their game, knowing that they have to chase?
Not necessarily. I think they'll be very much looking after themselves. I think the conditions were tough. I thought Galia played very well, especially towards the end of that second half, and did really well to come back and get a couple of tries and put pressure on the Wolfhounds. I think if you're Clovers, you're sitting there going, oh my god, you know, they've dropped to 8 points, so we have an opportunity to go, and if we can get 4 or 5 points, then we're putting ourselves in a much better position than we were beforehand.
The team that's picked for the Clovers looks like a strong team with a good bench as well. Any players you're particularly excited to look at?
Yeah, look, I think they've been very good at spreading game time among that big panel throughout, so there's been loads of new combinations, which can be hard, but the fact that they've turned up and won all their games has been really impressive from the coaching and the squad. I suppose, you know, players like Jane Clossy, Jane Neal, these young girls that are coming into the game, it's really, really cool to see. Beth Bottomer's back starting this week as well. She's had a really, really good tournament. And then in the back line, you know, Alana McInerney's coming back from sevens and stuff like that, so they've loads of like firepower across this squad. And even from a pack point of view, they're very athletic. They have the ability to move the ball, and makes it a really exciting brand of rugby.
Katrina Finn on the bench, a player you're kind of excited about. What's she going to bring when she comes on?
Yeah, absolutely. She's a very young kid that's been probably earmarked for this stage for quite a while. You know, she just turned 18 last year, so she's got loads of really good qualities, and she's learning the game really, really quickly, which is really exciting. But it's not just her. I think this tournament has been unbelievable from an Irish perspective, because we've been able to bleed and breed like young talent that's coming through. You know, you look at Jemima Adams-Verling, who's unbelievably good in the back row for the Clovers as well over the weeks, and they're all of that age group of just terms of under 18s and literally dominating in this space. It's not the case that they're thrown in because we're stuck. They're thrown in because they're more than capable. So from an Irish point of view, I think if you're Scott or anybody sitting at home watching this, you're really pleased about where you are right now in this competition, because you're breeding competition, which is something we've been lacking at national side for a very long time.
Well, we did catch up with both of the head coaches just a short time ago, beginning with the Clovers head coach, Dennis Fogarty. Dennis, big challenge today. It's not great conditions. Wolfhounds didn't have the best game. Maybe the conditions may have something to do with it. Is it in your heads that you have a lot of catching up to do in terms of points and getting at the Wolfhounds, considering their slip up earlier?
Yeah, it's kind of we've kind of really focused on what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve within our group, and how we approach every game. So in terms of Wolfhounds, we don't really look at what they're doing. We just need to focus on what we're able to do, and it starts today with Glasgow. So yeah, conditions probably once the rain holds off, I think it should be okay. But yeah, the wind might play a factor into the game, but hopefully we'll adapt accordingly to that.
It's slightly rotated in terms of squad. Is that about getting minutes and game time into players' legs? Are you happy with the balance that you've struck for that?
Yeah, I think it's important that we changed it up. We did that last week for the last game. We got fringe players back into it and get them exposed for match minutes, I suppose. And then again today we make a few changes, but I think overall it's important that we're giving opportunities to girls that have been training really hard over the last couple of months around that, and also giving them an opportunity to be seen by national coaches. So today is another opportunity for a lot of the players, as a selection for Six Nations is quite soon.
Is there any particular areas that you were focusing on coming into this game? Is there something you'd like to see done better than previous games, or an area of the game that you think you can develop?
Yeah, I say we spoke about it after last week's game. I think our urgency and our accuracy was down, and that's kind of been the theme of the week. So urgency in terms of what their role is at each, I suppose, at each aspect of the game, that's been a big focus for us. And then that accuracy then when around those parts of the game, whether it be set piece or whether it be where we play in the field. So I think that's been a big focus. So we're really kind of getting after that today.
Smashing, Dennis, thank you so much.
No problem.
Cheers. Lindsay, thanks very much for speaking to us. It's a tough away day fixture. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, we're pretty excited, pretty positive about it. We obviously haven't played each other yet. Unfortunately, the storm put a halt to that. But yeah, really excited, really looking forward to it. And I suppose that's what the good thing is about the Celtic Challenge. You know, you've got those back-to-back fixtures, so you don't really get a chance to kind of rest, and you go straight back into it. So that's good for us.
In terms of that, the relentlessness sort of it, is there areas of the game that you saw from one week to the next that you need to improve, or stuff that you're going to focus on for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be things for us that we're always going to pick things out to improve on. For us, it's about focusing on what we can control in the game, and about building that performance so that it's not just in certain areas or times in the game. It's, you know, building that up towards that 80-minute performance, so that when we come off that field, we're proud of what we've put into it.
Clovers have obviously been going very well and winning games. What's a good result for you guys today? Will you be targeting a big win?
We obviously go out every week to win, so it's about, you know, taking our opportunities, playing in the right areas of the field. So yeah, obviously we would like to win, but it's about controlling certain areas of the game to put us in a position to do that.
Smashing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Lindsay Smith, the Glasgow coach, giving her thoughts just before the game. We're about 7 minutes or so out from kick-off in this clash between Clovers and Glasgow Warriors here in a very cold Virgin Media Park. I see you swapped out your shoes for some stout boots, Briggsy.
It's very Baltic up here, to be fair.
Earlier on today, the Wolfhounds recorded their 21-15 victory, and really needed to work very hard at the end to secure that victory, with Gwalia camped on the line right in front of the posts. Had they got over, it surely would have been the other way, but just holding up Gwalia over the line in order to get the result they needed. And yesterday, Britton with a surprising but huge victory for them, 38 points to 32 over Edinburgh. Nobody saw that one coming, Briggsy.
No, absolutely not. But to be fair, they've been building and got a couple of players back this week. I think Edinburgh, just a really young side and probably struggling for a little bit of consistency. You know, last year they were really flying high, but they're just struggling a small bit now. But really good win for Britain. I'm very happy to see it. We need competition, so it's great to see that.
Crowd starting to filter in to Virgin Media Park for today's clash. And as it stands right now, Clovers, they've got this game to play, which will cut it down to just a single game at hand. But as you said in our pre-match, that looks likely to be chalked down as a draw. The match there won't be time to reschedule it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think Glasgow also had another game to play as well, their Edinburgh game. So they're using the next rest weekend, which is next weekend, for that. And the competition's just running out of space, unfortunately. So it looks like it'll be a draw, which I'm sure the Clovers will be a little bit frustrated with.
For Clovers, that means probably a certain 5 points they're not going to get on the board, making it increasingly difficult to close that 9-point gap to the Wolfhounds. Even though Wolfhounds would have been expected to get their 5 points today, they didn't get the 5 points they would have been expected to get. That should have been incentive for Clovers to go on and win, but it looks now like it'll be out of their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think really this for the Clovers, for the Wolfhounds, this is really around developing and preparing for what's coming down the road in March and April around that Six Nations. I think they'll Dennis and Neil and both head coaches from both teams will have got loads of positives over the last 6 or 8 weeks, but more for me is the players. The players will have really got to understand what the levels are to get to the next stage. They'll have gained a lot of valuable experience for it.
Well, it is quite the chilly day as we look at the Clovers starting team. Siobhan McCarthy, Sophie Barrett either side of Beth Buttermer. A lot of experience there for the number 2. Jane Neal and Jane Closey moved into second row after playing at back row last week. Brianna Haleman, Dervla Nicavord and Shirley Bailey make up the back row. Emily Lane, Nicole Fowley are the 9 and 10 pairing, with the centres Enya Breen, Anna McCann. And the back 3 is Alana McInerney, Amy Lee Costigan or Murphy Crow, Nee Murphy Crow, and Maeve Deely. It's a strong team. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm really excited to see Shirley Bailey get her chance. Really great story. So she only took up rugby in the last kind of 12 months, playing for Ballincollig, been a real standout player for them. Very explosive, incredibly athletic, and it's great that she's getting another opportunity at this stage. But really exciting Clovers team, to be fair, and for me there's lots of young, really good players coming off the bench too, which will probably make them stronger, hopefully.
For Glasgow, a starting team that is at least 2 Scottish internationals. Ailey Tucker and Aisha Sutcliffe, along with Eiley Fleming, are the front row. Holland Bogan, Aisha Zamir in the second row. Freya Walker, Gemma Bell, the Scottish international, Emily Cobra make up the back row. It's Myra McDonald, Scottish international, and Poppy Mellenby at 9 and 10. The centres are Briar McNamara, Orla Proctor, and the back 3 of Roma Fraser, Abby Evans and Skye Fimister. Any game of rugby's played over 80 minutes and any team can do a job on any given day, but you would have to say on paper, and I know rugby's not played on paper, but on paper that's a Clovers team that should be expecting a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think we're both in very different stages of their development, to be fair. I think Glasgow's second year as an entity, and kind of a semi-professional operation where they're getting to know each other and getting to play. Players like Gemma Bell and Mary McDonald have really good experience and really, really talented players that can cause opposition a lot of problems. But I think this Clover side are just a little bit further ahead in terms of their development, their understanding. They're basically, Ireland's quite small in terms of our population of women's rugby players, and they're used to playing with each other. So you'd expect the Clovers win.
A lot of noise from the small contingent of travelling Glaswegians in the stand, who have all worn their colours, their Scotland flags. Presumably they'll also be keeping an eye on the other game of rugby that's going on at the moment, but they're here for the big show, which is Clovers versus Glasgow. Glasgow already out on the pitch. We're still awaiting the arrival of the Clovers team. Early stages of a game, you're travelling all the way from Glasgow to Cork. What's a start that Glasgow can build on? What do they need to do in the early stages of the game?
Yeah, look, I think they've got to put them under, Clovers under a lot of pressure. You talk about territory. I think they can play a lot in terms of that Clovers half. That'll keep them, at probably Clovers at bay, if that makes any sense. But, they're playing with the wind in this first half, Glasgow, so you'd like to see them probably kick more and put a lot of pressure on Clovers that way.
Clovers are on the field in their green and red tops. Referee, the man in the middle, Tomas O'Sullivan, will be running the show as we prepare for kick-off. It will be kicked off by Briar McNamara, the centre. The referee just getting the nod from the touch judge, Michael Reedy, on this near side in front of our commentary position. And for Clovers, well, slightly delayed start. I think there may be an issue with the referee's mic, and if there is, we're going to have that investigated. And the slight delay to the start of this game. We know the ref mics were working a little while ago. We could hear them in the tunnel as they were preparing to come out. So something has happened in the meantime to prevent the start of this game from going ahead. And live television, you can't beat it.
Technology too, for sure.
So Thomas O'Sullivan makes his way back to the middle of the pitch.
Green ready? Blue ready?
And now we can hear the referee, Mike. And the game kicks off. Briar McNamara kicking it off and just about getting the 10 out of it. Just about. It was a very contestable kick. Clovers had to come up quick to get it. And they'll start the game with a big boot from Nicole Fowley. Bounces it into touch beautifully for just a second. It looked like it might go out on the full.
Yeah, absolutely. God, it's funny, you know, Virgin Media Park, it's like half of the pitch looks like the wind is blowing straight into the new development, and the other half looks like it's blowing straight into Sunday as well, if we were to look at the flags. So it's really hard to know which way to who has the advantage, really, but based on that kickoff, it's probably got to be the Clovers.
First set piece of the day is well taken from Holland Bogan. And an advantage already accruing to the Glasgow side. Going through some phases, moving that defensive line for the Clovers, and a lovely little pass outside. Really well taken. Clovers defence already being forced to work. Competing well. Good pass from McDonald. And the referee says no advantage accruing, and so we come back for the Glasgow penalty. And that's the first infringement of the day. He's pinged Jane Neal on that one, collapsing them all. Briar McNamara's gonna put a big boot on this one again. Well, that answers the question about the wind, because she did not get a whole lot out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Glasgow will be really happy with this start, playing into the wind now that we know that, because they've managed to eke a couple of penalties out of the Clovers and put themselves now into a position where they probably have a good strike play.
Aisha Sutcliffe goes for Aisha Zamir, and the maul is started, and it's picked from the back, and Glasgow looking to start testing this Clovers defence yet again. Short side, they go for it. Doing well to work through some phases. That's a really good carry from Bogan. And into midfield they go, and the defensive line comes up really, really quick. Enya Breen was cutting off the passing lane, but really good carry from Poppy Mellenby. Glasgow have some numbers back on the inside, but that's a big, big tackle. And from Jane Clossie. And a knock on in the middle, and it's been turned over, and Clovers have it for the first time in this game, and they're going to go to hands and into the midfield. The referee says advantage is over. Bottomer with the offload, really good offload, and suddenly Clovers are moving and slung outside. Tackle, step back inside through two tackles and up towards the 10. Really good burst. Clovers through the hands. Big gain being made, that carry from Barrett. Hitting the second layer, and an attempt to jump out of the tackle from Maeve Deely. Clovers still have not perhaps getting the continuity they might like, and the ball is knocked on the ground. That's just a little bit of lack of continuity.
Yeah, and to be fair to Clovers, you know, they put a lot of good phases together there. I just think at times they're a little bit deeper, allowing the Glasgow defence to see that out the back runner. To be fair to Maeve Deely, she did really well to hold on to that possession in that big collision, but probably the most positive thing is the fact that if Clovers know that if they can hold on to the possession for a few phases, there were lots of gaps there in that Glasgow D.
And so our
Crouch!
first scrum of the game.
Bite!
McDonald and Emily Lane squaring off.
Set!
The nines. Who's got the edge in the first shove of the day? It's quickly out the back door, and McNamara, puts a big boot on it, turns the Clovers defence, and
inside, outside,
taken out. Kick is returned with some interest. That's a really good kick. It's awkward, uncomfortable. Glasgow have to run it out from the 22, and suddenly there is space for them to run into, and they're going to try and straighten up, but really, really good tackle from Sophie Barrett. Glasgow have some numbers if they can go through the hands. Huge tackle in midfield. McDonald on the pass outside. Barrett again working hard. She's been everywhere so far, the tight head prop. Bounce is awkward, really well collected. off the boot and bounced over the top of McDonald. That was superb work from Nicole Fowley. McDonald has turned and ran straight into Amy Lee.
Step.
Costigan. Clovers have Bottomer on the carry. It's a mismatch and Bottomer makes some yards. They need ball quick and they get it. Fowley out the back door, through the hands. There are numbers outside. They just need to finish from here, and they will. Bursting through the middle was Anna McGann, and Anna McGann gets it down. The gap was there, they moved the ball, and like you said, gaps were there, they know how to exploit them.
Yeah, absolutely. All started from an unbelievable touch from Nicole Fowley. There'll be gifs of that going viral over Twitter and Instagram over the next few days, no doubt. But it's funny, you know, it's a very simple game when you look at it because it's territory based, and a brilliant kick by Nicole Fowley put Glasgow under so much pressure, and brilliant counter-rock by Jay Neal, and turned over 2 passes later. It's Anna McGann in the corner, and really clinical from Clovers. They'll be really happy with that start.
It's really just numbers for a finish, isn't it, once they start moving that ball?
Yeah, absolutely, but it's also the ability to catch and fix the defenders in front of you in order to create that space for the width outside.
It's an awkward kick for Nicole Fowley. Has she managed to turn that one back in? Oh, it's just short, I think. Her accuracy, direction was there. The ball dropping just underneath the posts. That's a little unfortunate. She had the direction on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, she thinks Nicole's super strength is her ability to kick long and be very accurate with it. But that's a really good try from the Clovers, and a great start for them.
As I've just seen the replay, just as Niamh Briggs called it, fixing the defenders and then stepping back inside. Clovers receive the kick off and immediately start looking to get back inside. It's a big carry from Nick Avord. And now it's just phase play.
Hold right, hold six,
Back for Nicole Fowley. Fowley once again kicking long, putting some pressure on the Glasgow back three, who return the kick. Little outside of the boot.
Retreat.
Lane collects, gives it to Fowley. Fowley gives it back to Lane, and here come the Clovers again. Passing options weren't there, support line's not quick enough, and they need a scrum half. They get one. Nick Avord into contact. And a little step back outside, and then Breen is suddenly away, bursting, looking for options, tries the crossfield kick. It's outrageously good. It's going to bounce into the path of Amy Lee Costigan, and she gets it down. Surely, try scored. Referee says yes, try is scored. I looked at Michael Reedy, the touch judge, who says it's good. It is on the ground, and Amy Lee Costigan, after a superb crossfield kick from Enya Breen, that was outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Munster fans will be accustomed to seeing Enya Breen make these big bursts up the pitch here in Virgin Media Park, but really good, I think, because they were under a little bit of pressure in that carry pre-it, and Derv managed to get a little offload into Enya, who skips away, and brilliant. Look, Enya Breen's an unbelievably good footballer, and it's a great finish by Amy Lee, and yeah, that's you'd find it anywhere, and we'd be talking about it if that was any men's game or any other professional game. So super try.
Superb work to spot that the Glasgow defence had narrowed, and Amy Lee Costigan, too experienced, stayed out on her wing, runs onto it beautifully. Cole Fowley's conversion splits the post, and up go the flags, and it's 2 tries in as many minutes to give Clovers a 12-0 lead. And that's start of a tough day at the office. I mean, Glasgow had started quite well. They were putting some pressure on, and suddenly Clovers just delivering. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we spoke about it before the game, around that territory game, and the more you can play football and in the opposition half, then the easier it is for you as an attacking team. I think Glasgow have got to get their hands on the ball, number one, and they've also got to try and play some territory.
Well, there's the first error for the Clovers.
The line is yours, okay?
Emily Lane collected and kicked straight into touch from outside the 22. And so Glasgow have their first set piece attacking opportunity right at the edge of the Clovers 22. Sutcliffe will have the feed. To the tail they go really well, taken off the top, and the maul is set up. And Glasgow start to move this Clovers defence. Same maul rolling.
No.
Clovers getting a sideways shove on. It's picked off the back, and Glasgow go heading for the line.
Advantage.
Advantage coming.
You're off your feet.
Glasgow now need to be patient. They have the advantage though, so they can do what they please with this. They're well set up in midfield. If they can get good ball, it's very slow coming out of that ruck. Pick and jam, and the ball looked like it was lost forward. Referee says no. Barrett again on the tackle. Big defensive shift already from the tight head prop.
Advantage.
Still advantage being played. A new advantage is now being played. And the referee, well, there was two advantages coming.
Okay,
I think Beth Buttimer saw an opportunity, saw the ball, and then entered, not through the gate.
Yeah, I think she just crept up the side over eager. They were already on an advantage. But this is good by Glasgow, their ability to be able to hold on to possession there. They had a good enough maul, they kind of gave a good shove forward. I feel like if they could just pick up the tempo a small bit, it'd probably put Clovers under a little bit more pressure.
Now, Ailey Tucker having a word with her players, and
So, off feet.
it is Brian McNamara who decides it's going to go into the corner.
First give. The line is yours.
And surely we're going to see that maul again. It looks like a potent weapon Glasgow have if they can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be fair to this Clover side, their maul D, maul attack has been unbelievably good. It's Dennis Fogarty's little secret weapon in terms of his coaching. So,
ball overthrown at the tail, but Glasgow just about collecting it. It's a lovely little step back inside for Mellenby. To ground she goes. Glasgow go down the narrow. And they're moving forward and heading towards that Clovers line, just about stopped, a metre short. This one's going to be kept tight. Glasgow backs aren't getting anywhere near this one just yet. Still very slow to come back. Clovers' defensive line is good, holding firm. Glasgow though are hungry for it. They can feel that line is coming for them if they can get that ball back. Once again, it's slow on the deck and it's been knocked forward. Good defensive pressure from the Clovers, and unfortunate for Glasgow because you felt like the try line was coming for them.
yeah, absolutely. I think Glasgow coach there be a bit frustrated around that call. I thought very much hands in the ruck, but Jane Cossey, Sophie Barrett coming up with some brilliant close quarter hits there in terms of defensive, and that probably slows them down enough to allow us to make the ruck a contest.
It looks from that replay, I can't tell if it's Haleman or Nick Avord, but one of the two of them has got a hand in there. So it will be Clover's first scrum of the day.
Set.
Lane with the feed.
Use it.
Shirley Bailey picks off the back. Loads of Glasgow players waiting to close the door in her face.
Hold blue. Hold.
And eventually it's going to be
6. Hold on.
kicked clear from Fowley. Long kick.
backwards,
Bounces awkwardly, knocked backwards
Got
though.
through the legs.
And well, it's a get out of jail there a little bit, and Poppy Mellenby is caught in possession. The referee gives a blast of the whistle. Mellenby looks to be hurt. This one is not good at all. Mellenby caught in possession, and she looks to be in some discomfort, stepping off one foot. That hit looked damaging. And that one is unfortunate.
Yeah, look, it was looked like a very nasty injury, and you know, I suppose it's like these pitches, and if you're coming in swinging as a defender, it's not often looking very good for the player that's carrying into possession. But hope that girl is okay, and gives people probably a breath now. But
yeah, I mean, commentating on a lot of games, watching a lot of games, I don't think I've ever heard any ex-players ever speak well of the artificial pitches.
Well, I love them because as a back you get to play fast, and there's you always that the pitch isn't going to be an issue around I suppose the ball and the pace of the game, etc. But I do see the merit around why some people don't like them, but as a back, yeah, for sure, I think
Blue were just in
I definitely did.
So we're going to restart and just come to Blue, okay?
Referee just having a word there with Anya Breen, I think.
Just saying that they're going to start with a re-scrum to Glasgow.
Well, it looks as though Mallenby is still in some discomfort, but perhaps not as bad as we initially feared it was. We'll have a little look again. This is Anya Breen's break. Superb work and the vision to just kick that across the pitch.
Yeah, it was absolutely class. I think it was the weight of the kick and everything, and Amy Lee is one of the most potent wingers in World Rugby, whatever about Ireland, but in the world. So you give her a little sniff of the try line, and she has this like striker's magic to get there.
What do you mean? You referred to Anya Breen a while ago as a footballer. There's a playmaker in there when you can look up, see that gap, and go for that kick across pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've played with her, coached with her, and I've known her for a very long time. She's still a very young kid, and but is just unbelievably diligent around getting better and improving all the time. And it's no surprise to me that she's the captain of this squad, because she's developed into a real good leader. But her ability to play off the cuff, to be whether it's kick, pass, run, thread option, she has it all really for me. So and it's great to see her back fit in terms of getting loads of games under her belt now over the last 6-7 months, and hopefully now she can push on.
Kaylee Ainsworth is the replacement for Glasgow as they come from the back, and it's a little trick play picked from the back. Huge carry from Emily Cobra.
Yeah, turnover's good.
But it looks as though Clovers have managed to get their hands on this. Cobra was isolated. It's a lovely little trick play to go down the blind side, but not enough support players. And Clovers have turned it over. So inside their own 22, looking to attack from here. Fowley puts a boot on it. It's a massive boot. It's going to bounce into touch, and that's a huge clearing kick, and that's the kind of exit a pack loves to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an unbelievable tackle from Lana McInerney coming down the blind there, and allowed Brianna Holman to get that steal. But really good play by the Clovers, really good around their defensive structures to exit, and super kick from Nicole Fowley.
Absolutely everything out of that. Bouncing into touch inside the Glasgow half, and what's good for the Clovers pack is bad news for the Glasgow pack, who have to retreat all the way and set up here again. Sutcliffe finding Bogan really well. Bottomer looking to cut off passing lanes, and the ball knocked on and collected by Jane Closey. The Clovers will now attack. Advantage over for the knock on, and once again it's a lovely clearing kick. It's going to bounce awkwardly, collected by McDonald. Puts a boot on it. Fowley in the backfield, outside of the right boot. Is it going to bounce into touch? No. Well, it looked like the 50-22 was on. Donald collects, feeds, it's hacked over. It's going to bounce up in front of. It's collected, and for just a moment it looked like Maeve Dealey was going to fling that one into midfield, and I thought I saw Niamh Briggs shudder.
Really good. Look, to be fair, Glasgow are trying to go toe-to-toe with this kicking game. They just can't get the length that the Clovers are getting, so it's pinning them back further and further into their 22 all the time, which gives this now prime opportunity for the Clovers to be able to have a really good attack space.
Barrett feeding Bottomer the information, and Clovers get ready. To the front it goes, taken off the top lane, flings it to Fowley in midfield, and there are Clovers players queuing up, and it's a burst from Closey. Up she goes. Suddenly Clovers are moving, and Glasgow look a little bit narrow. If Clovers can get to space again. Ball thrown from McGann wasn't great, and it was behind McInerney, who had to check her run, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's understanding space and how you can get the ball there. Sometimes we look to overplay in terms of these big long loopy skip passes, when realistically putting the ball through hands every couple of metre pass sticks the inside defence more. So I think Anna will probably be a bit disappointed around that option she chose. But Glasgow have gotten out of jail here again.
Well, it's a long way out, and by no means was the try line looming, but the numbers were there, and a simpler play seemed to be the better option, but Glasgow will take it.
Crouch!
McDonald will have the feed.
Set!
It looks as though there's been a positional change for Glasgow also. Brian McNamara seems to have gone into 10. Pushing Ainsworth offside. This is McNamara, and it was given to Ainsworth, and Ainsworth knocks it on, and well, the kick chase was good, but unfortunate. Maybe that positional change that we've seen has just affected Glasgow's flow.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a bit like Clovers, around putting Derv into 8 off attacking scrums, and in certain aspects of the pitch, I think they put Breyer into 10 to be the first receiver in case she gets an opportunity to kick, because she is their main kicker. So smart play, I suppose, in terms of manoeuvring your best players into their superpowers.
Crouch!
And so Lane will feed.
Nice and low.
Set!
Looks like she's got a little trick or two up her sleeve. She's been consulting, and it is going to go down the narrow side, and suddenly Clovers have numbers, and it's stepped back inside. Outside seemed to be the better option, but Clovers still have. Get good quick ball from the ruck up to the edge of the Glasgow 22, coming to the open side now, and it's just spilled forward from Brianna Haleman. And Glasgow, well, it's for free again. And a penalty being blown.
Behind the breakdown. No.
And that one is against Jane Neal. So what had been just a knock-on advantage turns into penalty.
Part of the breakdown, but we can carry her past.
Yeah, look, I think Clovers probably be a little bit disappointed around the execution of that. I do think of that back of that scrum, I think the option is to go wide there around feeding the players to the space, because Glasgow had got very narrow.
Penalty doesn't find touch, and instead Clovers go through the hands, and Nicole Fowley, once again, this kicking game is outstanding, puts a big huge boot on it, and it's going to bounce into touch. It's a superb kick. Well, Anna McGann was lurking also on that wing. If it had bounced the other way, real threat.
Yeah, 15.
I think they've given a 50-22 as well. Super game management by Nicole. She's played really, really well over this series, and super kick for her.
That is a massive kick from Nicole Fowley, and well, she's just been outstanding for the Clovers so far today, pinning Glasgow back at every opportunity. The 50-22 was excellent. I thought she had stepped over the halfway line, but taken off the top from Clossie, and Clovers set up the maul, and the maul is sacked really well, but the ball is playable, and Lane comes running to get her hands on it into midfield. Huge carry from Enya Breen. Clossie on the carry yet again. Clossie heading towards the line, and huge surging run from Clossie, and suddenly the numbers are up, and Clovers are over the line, but they will be held up, and that is very unfortunate. All the power and all the pace, but Glasgow doing really well to get bodies underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. Great burst of pace from Jane Clossie there. Acceleration and contact, or refusal to get tackled is really, really good. One of the strongest in the game. Brianna just unfortunate there, went in a bit high, and fair play to Glasgow. Great D there from them.
McNamara with the dropout, collected by Amy Lee Costigan, stepping this way and that, and into the 22. She's on her knees, tackle is complete. Lane, Bottomer on the carry. Clovers, you think, can sense something. That's a lovely little skip pass, and Barrett has her hands on it. To the deck she goes. Fowley again, out the back door. McInerney, can she step back inside through the traffic? She can, and they're just hauled down 5 metres short. Clovers on the attack with their tails up now. Nick Avord on the carry.
Release, captain.
It's slow.
No.
And a little pick, and the referee says no.
First thing here, we're not going to get, there's a ruck formed over U7, but the first penalty was one not rolling away. There was a ruck
And
formed
so,
over
referee, he's doing quite well actually communicating with the players in terms of what the decision-making process is. He says there was a ruck formed, and so it's not okay for Nick Ward to simply pick that ball and go, but there had been a penalty coming for not rolling away, and so the option is to go in to the corner, and we will surely see Clovers maul this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nick Ward's specialty really is to drop the ball and get back up, but it was the right decision by the ref there, in terms of, I think there was an original ruck before she picked it back up.
So Bottomer will feed into this line out. What can the Clovers come up with from short range? Once again, really good sack, outstanding defensive work. And Bottomer is on the carry on the second phase. To the deck she goes. Nick Ward heading towards the line again. Just short. Lane wants hands on it. Lane goes for the snipe, and that's a superb try for Emily Lane. Saw there was nobody home. Glasgow were teeing up for another heavy carry, and Lane snipes and gets the Clovers their try.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Emily Lane's had her, come into this kind of setup from the sevens. She's been really, really good. Very smart footballer as a 9, and can really back great passing and her ability to play at tempo. But for me, this was really smart because her forwards had kind of overrun it, and she noticed that the Glasgow pillar had stepped out and left a little bit of space for her. It's a great try.
Superb work, and in an ideal position for Nicole Fowley, just to the left hand side of the posts. An opportunity to stretch that lead.
The next one is facing your partner for your abductors. Nice and easy. Goes a 3.
And through the posts it goes. Nicole Fowley stretching the lead to 19 points to 0. And with only 24 minutes played, you would imagine the bonus point is coming before half time.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair to the Clovers, knowing that they're going into the scale in the second half, they've got to make these opportunities count, because I'm sure that Glasgow will be able to get further down the pitch. It might not look at it at home, but it is very, very windy here, and getting dark and grey, so I'd imagine the rain is coming in too.
Touched.
Thanks for that, Briggsy. Cold enough as it is. It's a good little kick over the top from McNamara. Bounces it into touch.
It's marked for good. There's your mark, Captain.
So Clovers will set up their attack from deep inside their own half. Bottomer. It's a short line out, really well taken. Lane hit, looked like to be a little bit late, but play goes on. Clovers making some yards. Ball is isolated, just about protected. Good rucking. Fowley is going to put her boot on it yet again. It's another huge kick. Is it going to bounce for touch? Well, it's just about collected in the backfield, and Glasgow going to have to play out for 5 metres outside their own line. That's a big, high hanging kick. Doesn't make touch. Collected by McInerney, and there's an advantage because the players were ahead of the kicker. And suddenly the Clovers with a free play. Ball in the 22.
The penalty advantage.
They're going to go for it from here. Lane spinning it. Bottomer, lovely little pop-up pass, and the break is on. Not all the way to the line, but Clovers sense it's coming. Going to the second layer. Fowley with the crossfield kick. Is it going to find? No, it's not. It just overshot Amy Lee Costigan. Referee says advantage was over.
Options come back 22.
And Foley was, I think she thought that they still had the advantage and over-kicked it. Advantage was over.
We've come all the way up.
Yeah, look, I think be a bit frustrated because he had called, the ref had called it, to be fair, and they had loads of options. They had an option to get another pot around the corner because they were well on top, or to get that really good backline going. But fair play to Glasgow. They're still hanging on. They're doing a lot of work around what that looks like.
Time off, just injury to Red.
Shirley Bailey, I think, is down for treatment. It was a barnstormer of a run.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think Beth Buttermer did really well to stay square and put her into that little tip space, and she gets away. But as I said to you, it's a great opportunity for her coming from the club game. Not many would know her, but she's been really, really good for Ballincollig, and just incredibly athletic player that's got a load of potential.
She's back on her feet. She looks to be good to go. as Niamh Briggs's predicted rain starts to affect play. Carry from Deely. As Clovers set up the attack yet again. Referee is warning Aisha Samir to stay off that. And so Clovers on the attack. That's a really good carry from Bailey yet again, and she's unfortunately knocked it on as she was brought down. But when she carries, I mean, 2 Glasgow players, she's pumping the legs and they can't stop her.
Yeah, absolutely. She's really good. She gets her feet under her. She's very dynamic in that carry. I do think she's picked up a knock from that previous carry there. She's struggling a small bit with it, and be real unfortunate if she had to come off now.
Do have another injury, and it looks as though Aisha Samir is in some discomfort.
If they're close, okay, and there's no separation.
Ailey Tucker
We'll keep an eye out for it. Okay, thanks, Captain.
suggesting to the referee that some of the Clovers players are leading with elbows. You would hope that Samir is okay to continue, but she does look quite uncomfortable. It's an attritional game, and when you're defending as much as they are against carries, this is what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when attackers have the ability to get into that space between 2 defenders, from a defensive point of view, especially on these pitches, you kind of put yourself in a very vulnerable position for those people coming in to barrel you out or take you out at the breakdown. Because you're not square on, there's limbs kind of hanging, you're not really expecting something, and the first kind of point of contact is, rather than, the middle of your body, it's a limb, it's a knee, it's an ankle. So that's why we, coaching-wise around our pathway stuff, we really stress the importance of being square in that tackle, because it not only does it make you a better tackler, but it also probably protects you a small bit as well.
We need to retreat, or else they may have penalised you, okay? Make sure we retreat.
Our second stoppage, and it looks as though Shirley Bailey is also getting some treatment for that knock we were talking about.
Knock on by
Aisha Samir's back on her feet. We would hope good to continue. Glasgow, haven't conceded 3 tries. They are still quite competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just probably lacking that little bit of experience, I think, and maybe that little bit of cohesion. I think, from a defensive point of view, maybe for the first or second phase, they're well able to match the Clovers and what they're doing, but it's the broken play. The next fit, when they get to phase 3, 4 and 5, have the ability to fold, have the ability to connect and get off the line, and this kind of probably where they're struggling a small bit now. That and the lack of possession that they have.
Well, unfortunately, Aisha Samir is done for the day. She looks in some discomfort as she come out. Enya Breen consoling the second row, who had been having a good game defensively against the Clovers onslaught. She was getting herself involved in breakdowns and rucks, tackling absolutely everywhere, and being a really strong line-out option whenever Glasgow did have that.
Yeah, absolutely, and she's a very physical player, and you're probably not going to be switching like for like. So there's 2 probably difficult substitutions for Glasgow now, losing 2 players to injury.
Katie Yeomans is the replacement for Samir. The feed will be McDonald's, the Scottish international scrum half. Big push put on, and the front rows have both popped up there. Huge shove from the Clovers pack.
Okay, we've had good
scrums up to this,
okay? Let's make sure we stay square.
Siobhan McCarthy and Sophie Barrett want to have a cut at this.
Yeah, look, so if we get Barrett's a precocious talent, she's under 20 still, and I had her with the Irish 20s last year, and she was a phenomenal player. Siobhan McCarthy, we forget because she's been around the game for quite a while, but she's only moved into the front row in the last 12-18 months, so yeah, look, 2 really, really good props.
Set.
And that is a huge shove from the Clovers. Glasgow want to get that out the back, and they do. And into hands it goes, and a little dink over the top. There's nobody at home in the backfield for Clovers. Deely has to collect it, really well done, one-handed, and steps outside of a defender and eventually brought to ground, but that's a good return run from the fullback. Bailey again on the carry. She's been immense, the number 8. Lane with the little snipe, and she's been hit in the head there, and that one a little bit unfortunate. It's one of those slipping up sort of tackles more than anything else. She just immediately stopped playing, did Emily Lane. And the referee's just going to have a little chat. The touch judge and the ref going to consult on this.
Okay.
Lane did certainly get a knock into the head, there's no question about that. It's a question of what the force was.
At the last place, so that's
Just wondering,
it's a medium level
listen to
danger.
the mitigation that
So
he's.
we're going to go down and just go for yellow card. Okay, thank you. Okay, no,
And the referee,
so we have
it's
this
going to
foul
be a
play.
yellow card.
Okay. So your shoulder has made contact with the player's head, okay?
It's a shoulder
The player
into the
has
head.
moved the last second, so that is the mitigation. That's why it's going to be a yellow card, okay?
Katie Yeomans, who's just on the pitch for the injured Aisha Zamir. Her first involvement in the game, unfortunately for her, is there's obviously a huge size difference between the two of them. Yeomans towering over Emily Lane, but shoulder contact into the head is shoulder contact into the head.
You've got to be way more pertinent around those kind of contact elements. I think the onus is definitely on the player that's coming in to make the tackle. And I think she's probably from my eyes, we haven't seen a replay, but she was kind of lucky to get just a yellow.
Nine. Just 2-2. Take a step, please. Thank you.
That was the incident, and now Glasgow, well, it was an uphill battle to start with. Now they have to do it with 14 players for the next 10 minutes. And Clovers sense that there is an opportunity, and the pass was thrown. It was awkward, and Dealey has to collect under pressure. She's done quite well there. Clovers have lost some territory. Just a little bit of miscommunication from the second layer of the attack, and Fowley. It's a really flat pass and a good pass. It sets up good position. Lane, little pass back inside, and the step is outstanding. Clovers moving this way and that. Haleman with the offload. Lane has it again. To ground they go. Lovely hands. McInerney has it on the deck. Defensive line did well to come up and get her. Barrett acting. As Lane goes to Bailey. Bailey once again, offload in the tackle is superb. Clovers going through the hands and heading towards the line. Is Breen over?
On the line.
It's short, just short of the line. Clovers have. Picking and going, heading towards the line. Have they got it down? Yes, they have. And it is scored in the corner. Really well scored and really well taken for a finish. I can't see the number on the back of the jersey at this distance. You're going to have to tell me.
Yeah, great try by Derv Nicavord, who started it probably with that little inside pass from Emily Lane off the edge of the ruck, and a big burst of energy, something we're very accustomed here in Munster to seeing Derv doing. But look, their ability to not panic, go back down that short side, made it really difficult for Glasgow, because they still had numbers so much on the open that it's kind of hard to cover all that space. But really, really good. Eniel Breen's leg drive in contact was absolutely exceptional, and Derv finishes it having started it.
Really excellent work. Just could not be stopped. And we saw earlier on, Clovers held up over the line because they've gone in too high. That's the kind of movement you need to see. So low, there's no way of getting underneath that. There's no stopping that.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be looking at chest parallel to the ground in order for you to be able to get your feet underneath you to give you a bit of power to drive your momentum over the line. But players are latching too, and it's 2, 4, 6 feet are probably better than 2 and 4 on its own. So Beth Buttimer, I think it was Jane Neal latching in on Derv there, makes it a really, really good try.
Well, the little offload reverse from Bailey is just excellent. Fowley's unfortunate with the conversion attempt. It drops just short again. Accuracy was there, but just going underneath the post for a finish. But Clovers won't really care. 24-0. They've got the bonus point now. And they have the ball, and they have a player advantage. Fowley once again putting the boot on it. Glasgow, we're glad to have the wind behind them in the second half and not have to face that boot and that wind. That's a good carry. Good defensive work from the Clovers, but it's a lovely little pick and a snipe. Glasgow looking to attack. Really clever play. Into midfield, and it's lovely from Tucker. The loose head prop. Some superb work. Big, high, hanging kick. It's contestable. Bounces awkwardly. Collected from Fowley and juggled and eventually kicked over the top. And it's a good, bouncing, awkward kick. Ainsworth has to collect him through the hands and stepping this way and that, and the eventual tackle coming. It's a combination of McGann and Breen. Clossy on the tackle this time round. McDonald flings it back and McNamara puts a big boot on it. Fowley to Dealey. Dealey to Emily Costigan. A lovely little step outside of one and hands it off, and lovely little show and go from McGann. McGann back inside to Dealey. Dealey is going to go all the way to the line, and that is a superb team try for the Clovers. Everyone involved. Amy Lee Costigan gets out of one tackle, finds McGann, McGann finds Dealey, super score.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Glasgow are expecting them to kick back because that's what they've been doing the whole time, but moving the ball to space, because Glasgow, I think we're expecting them to kick, they were very disjointed in their line chase and lots of little gaps, and players like Amy Lee Costigan and Anna McGann, they live for that, and great try.
I expected them to kick. Everyone expected the kick. Fowley's been so good with that boot today, but instead feeding Dealey, and then suddenly the gap was there. A disjointed defence, also a defence minus one player. It's a lot to ask of any team to reorganise. And the fifth try for the Clovers, but still 5 minutes to play in this half. They lead 29 points to 0. Fowley puts that one right in the middle of the two posts to extend the lead to 31 points to 0. And we're just seeing just how good this Clovers team are when they move that ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think these players will have trained together and played together for quite some time, even before the Celtic Cup, and they were involved in the sevens as well together, and it's the subtleties around the ability to get the space, the little drop shoulder to give the dummy pass and open up the space for somebody else, and but a great try.
Dealey collected the kick-off and Clovers go back through the hands again. Bottomer. Well, that's
Ruck was formed, bodies all over. We must have a clear release. Here. Ruck formed.
Ailey Tucker had done the work in terms of the defence. The referee is saying no clear release when the ruck had been formed, and so Clovers penalised. McNamara puts that one to touch. And Glasgow with a rare opportunity inside the Clovers 22 to see can they generate something from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Buttermer's hanging out with Derv Nicavore too much. That's definitely a Derv special, but look, hopefully Glasgow can start to put a little bit of pressure on here now and stay down here for an extended period of time.
Sutcliffe will throw. Cobra takes at the back, and the referee.
This player has jumped in contest. This player has got off the ground, so it's not straight. Option scrum or down it.
New rules in the game say that you can throw a ball crooked if nobody contests it.
What constitutes a contest?
Yeah, Clovers didn't exactly contest that ball, did
100%. No, I think that's a bit harsh on Glasgow, to be fair. But smart too by the Clovers, because
someone does a little bunny hop, and the referee says that's contest.
Yeah, sure.
And so the crooked feed. Cobra was the option at the back for Glasgow to set up either a maul or a maul feint. And now the scrum instead is to Clovers laying feeds. Nicavore picks from the back, fends, 2 tackles and offloads, and Lane has it. Lane takes it to the deck. Really good clear out, but it's been turned over. The clear out was just a little bit too late. McDonald has it in through the hands of McNamara's on the break. Stopped. And through the hands they go. Ainsworth, it's outside and popped back in, and suddenly the numbers are showing up, and it's going to be a score for Roma Fraser in the corner for Glasgow. Fraser benefiting from some great work. The turnover was superb. Glasgow go through hands, and that's a great score for the visiting side.
Unbelievable. I think to be fair to Briar McNamara, she was very unlucky. She slipped at the last second after really getting after that space. Brilliant, to be fair, by Glasgow in terms of following up and really choosing the correct pass. I think if you're the Clovers, you're frustrated that you're in very much control of that situation and didn't get your exit or your detail right around the exit, and teams are going to punish you at this level. So great score for Glasgow.
Nicavore picked it off the back and just somehow got isolated and turned over.
Yeah, and to be fair, Emily Lane just scoots, and when she gets scoots, then she gets tackled and isolated. And here's the thing: it's great turnover by Glasgow, and it's really, really important that we say that, because they've been hanging in there at certain elements. They'll be frustrated around certain elements, but to be able to reply to a score with something like that is really good.
McNamara's kick against the wind seemed to catch it as it took flight and pulls it to the right. 31 points to 5, and that's something that Glasgow can build on, because that was some excellent rugby from the visiting side. And Clovers will be a little bit annoyed for not being more disciplined with their own possession as we head towards half time. About a minute left.
Flat. It's flat.
The referee is saying the ball is flat, so we will need a replacement.
Yeah, we're going to go down. Let's go.
Ball on the pitch for Nicole Fowley to kick off. Minor technical difficulties once or twice in this game. Fowley's kick into the 22, really, really well taken. Closey has just bounced out of one of the tackles and through the hands they go, and that was a really good recovering tackle from Closey, forcing the knock on, and Fowley has it. Clovers keeping it tight. Barrett on the carry.
Advantage over.
And Yeomans, who's back on the pitch, doing really well to tackle. Bottomer into contact. To the ground she goes. And a penalty conceded against Beth Bottomer for not releasing on the ground. She'll be annoyed at that. It wasn't Beth Bottomer, excuse me.
Yeah, to be fair, Siobhan McCarthy, yeah, she will be, to be fair.
That is really well kept in play. The penalty looked to have gone out the full, and then the kick goes out on the full, but that is the last action of the half regardless. And so after some awkward kick tennis back and forth, we'll end the match on the half on a kind of a strange note, but it has been a fairly dominant performance from the Clovers. Glasgow having to do an awful lot of work defensively, not getting nearly enough time on the ball as they might like. They have managed to score one great try. Clovers will be happy though.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really clinical at certain stages. You know, a couple of entries into the 22 at the start of the game, and they come away with scores. And you know, there was always going to be peaks and troughs. You know, it's really hard to keep that intensity for the whole half. So I think when you're going into the dressing room, they'll be delighted. 31-5, super some individual, but for me, really good cohesive team performance.
And the first try from McCann was super stepping back inside, just a numbers game. And finally getting that score, sort of not against the run of play, but as if from nowhere a score conjured up.
Yeah, absolutely. It came from a really good kick from Nicole Fowley and the chase from it. So, you know, brilliant team try, but the ability to be able to fix and give for that try was really, really good.
The next try, as it was scored, step back inside from Enya Breen, and then a moment of absolute magic with that crossfield kick. Superb playmaking.
Yeah, and from an individual perspective, it's probably the try of the game so far. I thought the one from the first try from Annie McGann was a really good team try, but Enya Breen, you know, Sturf gets kind of caught in the contact here and managed to get an offload, and Enya spins into that space, and Glasgow aren't covering or folding across, and brilliant vision, brilliant way to kick. And as we spoke about Amy already, you know, anything near a try line, you can bank her to be able to go and get the score. Super effort.
Well, the next one, really good defence at the line out. Bottomer, I mean, it's powerful leg drive to make the yards and send the Glasgow defence backwards. Covord with a huge carry as well. I mean, they have carriers and they've got players who can soak in defences. Yeah,
absolutely, and you're dead right. You know, that Glasgow defence of the maul was really, really good, and they've actually defended the Clovers maul quite well today. But when you're so, you know, concentrated on one part of the game, you can forget about the other parts. And Emily Lane did brilliant just to sneak it through.
Well, showing power once again was Enya Breen. The leg drive, the carry, short range, so close to the line. really excellent work. It's just power there.
Yeah, it is, and they were really smart. We spoke about it at the time around how they use that short side, and because you eventually run out of defenders if you've got options open as well. And Enya Breen's been unbelievably good in this first half, both sides of the ball, and really led from the forward there, and a great finish by Derv.
And this a lovely big long kick from McNamara, feeling Dealey, finding, and this little step out of this tackle, that moment certainly opens up an entire Glasgow defence, and the little show and go was outstanding.
Yeah, and look, there's lots of young girls here in the crowd, and you'd be hoping that when they see that, Anna McGann holding the ball in two hands, options on either side of her, just it puts doubt into the defender's mind, stresses them, it stretches them, and it allows you then to be able to give those little show and goes. But brilliant play and really good follow up by Maeve Dealey as well to score the try.
You love to see that in terms of coaching. Those support lines are just excellent. Coaches love it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much good in that Clovers performance.
Well, the work from Briar McNamara here, who's been excellent for Glasgow today, just slipping, losing her footing, but she's done all the hard work to create the space and to make sure that eventually Glasgow do get off the mark. It's also an excellent carry from Orla Proctor in the build up to it, but it's Roma Fraser who gets it down, and it's no more than Glasgow deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think they played a lot of the first half in their own half and struggled to probably put any pressure or territory on that Clovers defence, but they did really well in that one situation where they got in there, and they'll retake that from probably a positivity point of view in the dressing room at half time.
Well, we'll take a very quick break for ourselves before we bring you the second half live. And while we're having that little break, highlights from yesterday's win for Britton Thunder, who were hosting Edinburgh Rugby. Unexpected result, but a fantastic game of rugby. Enjoy the highlights package. We'll be back with the second half live very shortly.
Parca Scarlets, the venue, with his round 7 clash. Britton Thunder versus Edinburgh Rugby. Kick-off in a matter of minutes.
Good work.
Side entry, the penalty. Round the corner, Hannah Walker, top try scorer in the competition with 8. There are numbers, that's the ball, right out wide. Oh, super tackle on Scott. But it's still Edinburgh possession. Still they come forward.
Still playing advantage 9, okay?
Trying to get it through the hands. McMahon with the carry. Again, numbers out wide. Swift hands needed. Good hands there by Marlowe. The ball does get now to Walker. And that's a well worked score by Edinburgh. Just 2.5 minutes on the clock, and they show their intent. Went through the phases, great continuity in their game. And Hannah Walker gets another. She's up to 9 tries in the competition. Composure needed. There's Robin Davis, about a metre out. Singleton, round the corner comes the captain, Natalia John. Half a metre short of the Edinburgh try line. Upright in the carry, Picton Powell, driven back.
It's a great collision. Good Edinburgh defence there.
Here's Davis again. Quick ball, Singleton, has she spotted something? Does she get it down? Yes, she does. Siren Singleton, her first try of the competition. She's been a live wire for the Thunder, and she does get over, and we're all square at Parca Scarlets. 5 points apiece.
Much better by Thunder, wasn't it? Remaining patient in this red zone. Good carries. Keeping possession, not forcing it. It's a good finish by Singleton in the end. Got a lot of work.
McRae getting it wide to Scott. Elects to kick. The advantage is over. Troman's back there. Doesn't collect it first time round. And she collects some Edinburgh tacklers. Off their feet a little bit.
Straight off their feet. Oh, that's harsh.
Well, they've turned it over. Maybe not affecting the clear out at all because there were no other Thunder players there. And it's Edinburgh now on the front foot. Some gaps out wide. If the ball gets there, will it get there? Oh, McMahon, Hannah McMahon. Under the sticks. The try is awarded. Took my time there, wasn't quite sure if the arm was in the air from Amber Stamp Dunstan. But Hannah McMahon coming round the corner and carrying exceptionally well. Singleton has to work a little bit harder to get that one. Webb, high into contact, driven back, but the ball is still there. Singleton fancies another try, but she's thwarted a metre out. Natalia John with a pick.
Lots of space on the right hand side here.
Well, take your pick. There is a try awarded for Brython Thunder. Who gets up last? That's usually the answer.
Was it Lucy Isaacs?
Well, I don't know who's getting the pats on the back. We might be lucky enough to catch it on the replay.
Okay.
The Thunder won't mind who has scored because it's all square again. Well, we wanted tries and we've got 4 of them. Who picks and goes? Siobhan, you tell me.
We're not
Marlow.
sure. I can't quite see.
Is that advantage over? Advantage is deemed over. Hannah Marshall looks up. Who's she got on the outside? That's not a bad kick.
Great
Cross
option.
field. Picton Powell. Well, this is an important tackle because Scott is quick. She's in space on the far touchline. Little bit isolated on her own, but she beats the defender and finishes it herself. Super finish. Lucia Scott, usually a fullback, goes over for her second try of this Celtic challenge. You can see why she's a Scottish international. Took her time there, realised she was a little bit isolated, but then beat the last defender. Very evident at first receiver. Very well tipped passes on Marshall. Oh, great break, straight through the middle. Picton Powell, back yourself. Ball inside to Singleton. Oh, this would be a cracker for the Brython Thunder. 3rd try for the home team, and that was the pick of the bunch. Great break in midfield, and all good scrum halves back up on the inside. Singleton scores, and that was created by Picton Powell.
It was lovely play, wasn't it? Great change of pace by Picton Powell. Accelerated through the gap. You just missed it, but catches the ball, the power, the accelerations, but also her rugby awareness.
Decision to be made here. You can take it quickly, Singleton, and she does do that. Does she carry herself? Yes, she does. A few metres out, a Brython Thunder looking for a 4th, a bonus point try. Knees are on the deck there again. They're about a metre short, but the arm is up. The try, touchdown style.
Jumped over the rock, Chloe Gant.
It is Chloe Gant. I wasn't sure who went over, but it is the Brython Thunder hooker that scores the 4th. Like I said, the bonus point try and puts the Thunder back ahead.
Well-deserved try by Thunder, going through the phases, but been applying pressure now for the last 10 minutes, and it's that girl again. Isaacs is in and amongst everything.
Corner.
Gets them.
The pod system works very well. Never carrying single numbers, always someone on the shoulder. And there's replacement Chloe Brown, I think, again. Switch in play now. Out the back door, Denholm. Hands needed in midfield. Scott with the last pass. And grounded by Amy Conchi. Well worked Edinburgh score. And they retake the lead with their 4th bonus point try. Edinburgh will look to squeeze them in the scrum. No easy exits for the Thunder. They're going backwards at the moment. Singleton has to dig to get it out. Oh, the ball has been turned over against the head. And that's Gunderson crashing over for Edinburgh Rugby. Is that game set and match? Their 5th try of the afternoon. And they've just wrestled momentum back in this Celtic Challenge class. And they're further ahead at Parc y Scarlets.
It's a good scrum by Edinburgh. Dominant. Turned over the ball against the head. But for me, Lucy Isaac has been exceptional all round the park this afternoon. From contact area to carrying to being involved in the line out. She's been exceptional all afternoon.
Well, there we have it. Player of the match in this Celtic Challenge clash is Lucy Isaac, and under the sticks. Well. Goes Hannah Black, the replacement. Missed tackle in midfield. The try is vital, but the conversion is to go ahead, and the fact that the Thunder have scored under the sticks will be a massive bonus for Hannah Marshall.
Great finish, wasn't it? The impact player, Ashley Beck, spoke about it before the game. Great ball by Niamh Terry. Look at the line though from Hannah Black.
In the ball comes, Isaac digs it out. Singleton, Webb, try scorer, Black, still carrying. What a try this would be to finish our first victory of the season for Brython Thunder. What an impact by the replacement, Hannah Black. That's what you get having international quality on the bench. She scores a try under the sticks, then caps it all off with a great solo finish. What a score, a 6th try for Brython Thunder.
Great solo finish, like you said, but learned their lessons. That's probably the most pleasing thing from that Thunder side. Isaac's ball in channel 1, gets the ball out early to Singleton, to Webb, and then the powerful speedster Blucky with the fend, beating 2 defenders and in at the corner. But it just shows as well, Reese, how important, I know it's international players on the bench, but bench players are just as important.
Slightly more difficult kick for Ellie Tromans. Can't turn that one in. But the final whistle does go at Parca Scarlets. What a dramatic climax, and you can see what it means to the Brython Thunder collective that are here today. Supporters, squad, staff members. That is their first victory of this Celtic challenge. They've had 2 tough trips in Ireland on the road, but to get a win at home, it feels good today. There's confirmation of the full time. Brython Thunder beating Edinburgh Rugby in a cracker in the Celtic Challenge. It finishes 38-32 to the home team.
That's pictures from an outstanding result for Brython yesterday. Pictures there from an outstanding result for Brython Thunder yesterday against Edinburgh, and we've just seen the Clovers retake the pitch here in Virgin Media Park for the second half of this Celtic Challenge clash between the Clovers and Glasgow. 31-5 the score at half time. Clovers will look, you can tell they're hungry for it. They'll look to build, and Fowley kicks it off, bouncing awkwardly, and Dervin Cavord was all the way up, and a penalty conceded very early on, tackling a player without the ball. And Fowley comes rushing up. She knows exactly what she wants to do with this. It's going to the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think great chase from Derv for that kick-off, and just tackle beyond the ruck. Really simple penalty, very frustrating from a Glasgow point of view.
Well, you'd need a better, certainly would want a better start from your team when you're trailing like that. And you want a second half to go a little bit better for you, and then suddenly it's not. We're going to have just another pause in play. It's the referee's mic, which was a problem at the start of the first half. I think he might have turned it off for privacy's sake at half time. It seems to be back up and running. Put in will be from Beth Buttimer. Really well taken off the top, and Clovers start them all. Really good defensive work once again from Glasgow, stopping the Clovers maul from getting anywhere. Brianna Haleman's on the carry. She'd want to get her knees onto the ground, or this is turned, and indeed it is turned into a maul. Ball is playable though. Clovers have, and off the deck it's popped up, and Clossy's on the carry. Is she over the line? No, short. Option still available. And it looks like Dervin Cavord has managed to get her hands on it for her second try of the game, bursting over from short range, and that's just the player you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought, I was kind of wondering in my mind why they had taken the ball out of the maul, because it looked like it had set really well, but to be fair to them, they did really, really well to recycle Shane Clossy with a big carry, and then Derv's potent around the try line there, nice and low, and Shirley Bailey basically pushes her over the line.
Well, it's, as you said in the first half, Brixie, it's a simple game in lots of ways, and when you get into those zones, you're trying to keep it as simple as you can.
Yeah, absolutely, I think. But a really good start from the Clovers, because it's really hard to reset yourself at half time when you go in 31 points to 5 up at half time. But to be able to come out and start like this, just shows a little ruthless streak inside them.
Fowley under pressure. It was a really good charge down attempt from Glasgow. They put Fowley under serious pressure, and the ball ricocheting back out off the post. Full credit to H.S. Sutcliffe, the hooker, getting up to put pressure on the Clovers 10. So Brian McNamara kicks off. Straight down the throat, collected, and boot returned with some interest. And into touch it goes. Good, solid exit.
Yes, great kick by Maeve there. The wind has really picked up, so it'll be hard for them to exit as well, or with as much length as they have done in the first half. So, but you're dead right, a no nonsense exit there. It's really good from a team point of view.
Sutcliffe, you feel like the target is going to be Yeomans. Really good pressure from the Clovers, but it is collected by Yeomans at the tail after bouncing awkwardly, and it's been knocked on. Just a glance off a Glasgow player as it went through. Awkward and kind of scrappy, but the pressure was on the throw, the pressure was on the lift. And Glasgow fluffing their lines just a little bit.
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit frustrated of how they've come out in this, start of the second half. It's a little bit kind of sloppy from them. They've put themselves into a good position to attack there, and this is probably the difference between the two teams. Clover's ability to set piece, to be able to retain their own ball is really, has probably set them apart from the Glasgow team.
Scrum goes down. Scrum goes up. Scrum goes down. We have seen a replacement, I believe, on the Glasgow side. It looks like Kate Lindsay is on. Let's see what she can offer. Scrums were relatively even, but you did feel towards the end of the first half the Clovers were starting to get some pressure on and a bit of a shove. It's a smart choice to swap out and add some fresh legs now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a fitness element there too, to be fair, from Glasgow. I think Clovers look like they're in good shape, and they're a lot more probably fitter or stronger, powerful than this Glasgow side. I think we spoke earlier on around how they're at the start of their development as a squad, as a group, whereas Clovers are probably just, even though it's the second year of the competition, they're probably just a little bit further down the line with the centralised programme here.
Centralised programme, obviously a really strong club game as well. All of these players will be involved with their clubs on a consistent basis, and that pathway development. This is a team that really does look quite cohesive. We talked about cohesion and how important that is for any rugby team. Clovers do look like a unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, lots of these players play for, winning that Munster province, and those that are coming from Connacht are used to playing together because they're training together every day up in Dublin. So, look, it's a really good opportunity for them to continue to grow and get better.
And Breen on the carry for first receiver, and Fowley popping it up. Big carry. McCarthy, Lane into midfield, and Bottomer takes it on. Fowley, big boot, really well collected in the backfield, and it's a good tackle on Ainsworth, and the knock-on advantage is coming, and McCann has to play ball a little bit. Enya Breen looks to get over it, and a really good clear out from Ailey Tucker, who's been excellent, the loose head prop, showing real leadership in the Glasgow defence. And Glasgow still have rumbling forward. McDonald with a big box kick. Fowley tries to get her hands on it, does just about, collects it. That's superb, collecting that without knocking it on under serious pressure. Ball is available, and Glasgow pick and go. And once again it's McNamara, Brian McNamara rampaging through the Clovers defence. The offload isn't good, and it's been knocked on, and McNamara had done so much work down the blind side for Glasgow. It looked as though the try line was coming for her, and the offload inside spilled.
Yeah, absolutely frustrating, and for Glasgow for sure. I think unbelievable pick up from Nicole Fowley off this box kick, but they turned the ball over. Briar McNamara has been a real positive for Glasgow in this space. You know, she's probably been their most potent back or ball carrier, and just unfortunate the offload coming back on the inside just didn't go to hand.
And it's the replacement Ainsworth who was running the support line, and she would be disappointed not to make an impact there. But Briar McNamara, I mean, physically, like, she has massive size, so she can get herself, but she also has great pace. She's showing a tremendous pace when she's on that ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, she's got a big fend too, and moves the ball from one hand to the other in that transfer, so she's very dangerous, and yeah, as I said already, definitely Glasgow's bright spark today.
And the penalty at the scrum is for Glasgow, and you can hear through the ref mic just how much it means to them. That's a huge result.
Lads, captain, we don't need that talk, okay?
And the referee is not happy with Ailey Tucker. The celebrations perhaps a little bit too raucous for the referee's liking.
Oh, look, I don't know much about the scrum, but I do know that when one team gets a penalty over the other, they like to let it be known. Look, fair play to Glasgow. They're down here now. They've got to make this stick in terms of putting this territory into points.
Sutcliffe. It was overcomplicated the first time round, but that's basic. It's to the tail, and Glasgow start to roll. Sutcliffe comes all the way back in. She'll want to get her hands on this. Ailey Tucker currently has it at the tail as Glasgow rumble towards the line, and they're over, and they have it on the ground. Glasgow get their second try of the game. It's a potent weapon they have in that maul, and when they get it moving, well, they couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a really good maul from Glasgow. They were patient, they were low, they were very connected. I thought Clovers did really well initially to have stopped the first push from them, but they rallied really well, and that's a really good start for Glasgow in terms of, not a start, but a reply to that Clovers score straight off the second half.
Holland Bogan is the try scorer. She's pretty delighted about it. And it's a fine effort. The knock on, you thought the chance is lost, and they win the scrum penalty, go to the line and get the reward. 35-10 the score now. Briar McNamara. Big Clovers pressure. Pressure is for tire, says Briar McNamara, and strokes it in between the posts. And now 36-12 the score. And Glasgow will feel, well, it's a long way back, but
yeah, look, I think if you're a Glasgow here, you're not talking now about winning and losing this game. You're talking about performance, and can you perform in the second half? Can you get small little wins from it, because they're the most important.
And Brogan, the try scorer, receives the kickoff, and pressure is on from McCarthy, but she can't get a hold of it. McDonald gives it to McNamara. It's an awkward bouncing one, and it's collected by Dealey, who gives it to Fowley, and Fowley flinging it back for Amy Lee Costigan, and Costigan is caught but manages to just surge out of the first tackle, just about Lane into midfield, and Clovers making yards in the contact. Eventually Lane says to Fowley, get us out of here please. Kick collected, and Briar McNamara once again, this time using that wind. It's a big kick, bounced awkwardly, but I think that's bounced off, well, I thought it had bounced off Nicole Fowley's face, and therefore couldn't have been a knock on, but there doesn't seem to be too many protests there.
Yeah, look, it's on the other side of the pitch. I think you might be, to be fair, I thought she put her hand up to kind of stop herself, and that is, oh yeah, unlucky.
The discussion before the game, okay? I have to be somewhere near a break, okay?
Yeah, it really did just come off her face.
Yeah, look, good territory from Glasgow again, and this is what, you know, we just spoke there recently just around just the fact that, you know, it's not really about winning or losing now for them. It's how they can, when they go back and review this game, they can talk about the good positive points that they got from that second half.
Well, it looks as though we're going to see a replacement anyway for starters, as Bottomer comes out after a big shift. She's been excellent, and it's Emily Gavin who comes in.
Yeah, Bet's been super in this game, 50 minutes, and I think there's managing minutes for her, but also Emily Gavin was excellent in the last round for the Clovers, and another young hooker coming through as well, which is great to see. So yeah, look, great game. It's great that they have the ability to give these young players game time.
Well, before the scrum was set up, the referee was talking yet again to Ailey Tucker, the Glasgow captain, and it seems as though Glasgow have gotten on the referee's bad side. He's not happy with the talk from the visiting side. Glasgow now doing their talking with ball in hand and making yards in the contact, and they have a penalty advantage coming their way. It's for free now as they go to attack. Once again, Holland Bogan on the carry, and the turnover. Siobhan McCarthy, referee says we're coming back for the advantage, and I couldn't see what the penalty was for.
Yeah, I think give 10 not rolling away, but I think 10 doesn't roll away because it was a clear knock on from Glasgow. I think Clovers will be a little bit frustrated around that defensive set, because I thought they did well there to get off the line and make those tackles.
Briar McNamara finds her touch, perhaps not as close to the line as she may have liked. It's a little further out, but we've seen that Glasgow maul move. That's the real threat now. Will Clovers put someone up to contest it?
Yeah, look, I think, especially with the new law, I think it's real. Like, you'd like to see teams go up against it and try and put them under pressure.
Nobody contests, and so Glasgow have it for free to set up, and the maul starts to move, and instead it's broken off the back and through some hands. And is it knocked on? Ball is on the ground, and it has been knocked on. And you just thought for a second that the maul, being such a potent weapon, why not use it? And Glasgow go out the back door. And
yeah, I think the setup hadn't been correct for them, and they looked to probably to release themselves from the back of it before Clovers got the upper hand there. I think it was probably the right choice. If you see it, they come down with the support that already got in underneath the ball, so ball was exposed, and it's unfortunate that Briar just couldn't meet the Gemma Bell passing.
Crouch.
For Clovers, it's a freebie, as Glasgow looked potent. It'll be off the tail. Nick Ward picks it, playing at number 8. And the Glasgow defensive work is huge. Real pressure being put on, and the referee has said out, 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 and they're not listening. And so you just wonder if there isn't a hint of the Glasgow being on the wrong side of the referee now.
Yeah, I think whatever about that, it's so frustrating when you can hear him saying get out, he's helping you, and if you're not going to listen to it, then you look, unfortunately you deserve to be penalised. Another little win there for the Clovers, off a scrum and straight into another penalty and a line out.
And Siobhan McCarthy's day is also done. Another front row replacement, this time Grania Burke coming in. Scrum penalty conceded the last time around, and see, there's a new front row change the shape. It'll be the first action for Emily Gavin to throw into this. To the front they go, and really well taken. And from deep they look to attack, and once again the referee's whistle blows as Jane Closey was on the carry. And the referee's going to have another chat, and it's Holland Bogan. She's been absolutely everywhere in this second half. In the 50 or 16 minutes we've played.
Be careful. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I think Glasgow definitely, discipline is really starting to fall apart now, and it's just getting really easy outs to this Clover side against this really strong wind. So I think that if they can just shore up their defensive pressure, but also now just gives Clovers another opportunity to get their hands on the ball.
Well, the throw from Emily Gavin was a good one. That'll steady her nerves. She has another opportunity now, but further up the pitch, the Clovers eking their way penalty by penalty up that touchline. Really well taken in the air. That's a good line out from the Clovers, and into midfield they go, and there's green and red jerseys splitting this way and that. Referee is telling them not on the ball as Jane Neal carries into contact. Lane, Fowley. That's a big one. It's dropping awkwardly and it's really well collected by Ainsborough, who steps out of one tackle. And McCann had to do an awful lot of work and can't quite get Ainsborough over the touchline. Huge carry now from replacement Kate Lindsay. As Glasgow will attack from the halfway line. Lovely step back inside and suddenly it's opening up for Glasgow. That was a massive tackle from Alana McInerney. Had to be. McDonald, Sutcliffe, and Sutcliffe off to Tucker. Clovers looking to rip, and they have ripped, and it looks as Derval Nicavord who's managed to get hands on it. Barrett with the feed. Jane Neal on the carry. Ball is on the deck. Lane with the little snipe, and now moving through the hands. Closey barrels over one tackle. Fowley through hands. Awkward throw, and it's, well, McCann just seemed to have a little rush of blood. She got a little overexcited and the throw is not great.
Yeah, then they've had a couple of those opportunities that they probably missed around those short sides or those edges, so they'll be a little bit disappointed for that. But great turnover from Derv Nicavord and their ability to move the ball into that space. Just it's really it's class to watch it, to be fair, and probably, you know, maybe, like, I know they're winning well, but are they a little bit guilty of passing up these little opportunities at the moment? Maybe there.
15 and 12.
They've scored really early in the second half, and since then really it's been Glasgow's game, their territory. They've played in the entire Clovers half, so we see some more replacements. Maeve Dealy's coming out, and on comes Aoife Corey. What a player to be able to bring into a team. That's a phenomenal bit of experience. And Katrina Finn is also in for Enya Breen. So a young up-and-coming talent, and Aoife Corey. So attacking options for the Clovers as Glasgow look to attack from a scrum, and Closey has to get involved with the tackle. It's not Closey, excuse me. That was Katrina Finn. Clovers putting pressure on Glasgow ball, and Glasgow still have though, and looking to attack from the 10. The door opening up just a little bit, and it's a really good step back inside, and Abby Evans just about keeping her feet from going into touch. Lovely little carry and an offload, and suddenly they're up, and Glasgow moving through the hands, and it's bounced awkwardly, and the try line really was just waiting for them, and now Jane Neal takes it. And suddenly the Clovers have and will look to attack, and well, that's really just unfortunate for Glasgow.
We're going to try to play through.
That was a brilliant tackle by Aoife Corey. Just forces the Glasgow player into making a really poor decision with the ball, and but great bust from Glasgow originally when they get there, but Aoife Corey can just, it's that space or chop, and really difficult for them to be able to move that, but that's a big missed opportunity for them.
It's one of those things, you know, you need your fullback outnumbered. You know, if the pass gets away, the pass is getting away, and there's no two ways about it. But you have to make the tackle and force that error.
Crouch.
You can do it if the offload comes, but makes the tackle and then forces the error. It's really,
and make them make that last pass as opposed to just standing off it.
the scrum is really good from Glasgow, but the referee says it's illegal. It was a massive shove, but the captain Ailey Tucker is pinged for driving up and around. Jane Closey slow to get to her feet, but looks to be okay. And the discipline from the visiting side, you know, it's kind of remarkable. They've had territory, they've had ball. All they have to do now is keep their heads a little bit, and they'll be scoring tries. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, there's lots of things that, you know, positives that Glasgow can take around, even though the scoreline doesn't reflect that. I just do think that they have had opportunities where it's probably just that last pass or the last couple of phases, or, you know, if they get to more than 3 or 4 phases, are they running out of ideas? But to be fair, Clover's defence has been good too in the second half.
Emily Gavin throws, and it's tapped back, but the referee says it's crooked. And so there was a contest in that one. Once again, not much of a contest, but enough for the referee to say it is contested.
They have got to jump really
Yeah,
there.
look, I think you've got to be smart too around the conditions. It's really, really windy. You're looking to get to the back of the line out. That's a difficult throw to make at any stage, but especially on today when it's kind of this weather, and you can totally see that starts straight and just drifts off with a gust of wind.
Well, the scrum's going to be interesting. The last one was a huge shove from Glasgow, but deemed to be illegal, and the penalty went Clovers' way. We'll see if Ailey Tucker can straighten herself out. This will be a big shove from Glasgow.
Set.
McDonald with hands on it.
Both stay square.
And you feel Cobra is going to be picking this from the back. And she has. Going down the blind side, the little pass. Nobody at home for that pass. And Glasgow caught behind their own gain line. Seemed to be just a bit of miscommunication. Jane Neal making a nuisance of herself. So is Bailey. McDonald complaining to the referee, and the referee telling her what's what, and McDonald goes for the box kick. Really well collected from McInerney. Looking to go around Briar McNamara, and has. The pass though is to nobody, and Glasgow collect in midfield, and suddenly the visiting side will look to go. Pick and snipe around the edges, but the door closed firmly. Carry from Sutcliffe. To the deck she goes. Gavin trying to get hands in it and can't. McDonald spins it. And into midfield, and Walker's on it, and Walker popping it through the hands, and it was McNamara. Now another carry from Holland Bogan. Holland Bogan's work rate in the second half has been absolutely excellent. And the referee neck roll, and Holland Bogan had carried it so well, took it into contact, and she's not one bit happy when the neck roll.
Yeah,
clear out.
To be fair, I think Alana McInerney was looking to get in there and poach that, and she kind of gets shunt back, and comes from the touch judge, to be fair, so it's good to see that they're working together. But it's kind of gone a bit scrappy this game now, and we just need to get one team to get a period of possession to be able to put some phases.
Carry was very, very good, and yes, it was McNamara who was on it, and she is pulled out by the neck, and that is well, it's the replacement Ainsworth, who makes the mistake. Emily Gavin will have to put in to the middle, taken really well off the top, and into midfield it goes, and Fowley. Finn on the carry, looks a threat with ball in hand. And Clovers now starting to put some phases together. Can they retain possession long enough to make themselves a threat? Fowley out the back door. Lovely little pass, offload, and it's out to the wings, and suddenly Amy Lee Costigan is going to go all the way to the corner. There is cover inside. They're not going to stop her. Amy Lee Costigan, even from 25 yards out, you just knew that try line was hers. Ball in hand, head down, afterburners on, and she goes all the way to the line. And out of nothing, once again, Amy Lee Costigan shows what she's able to do.
Yeah, look, a super team try from the line out, and big carry up the middle from Katrina Finn, and they get around the corner, and brilliant by Alana McInerney here. She's really good at splitting defenders, and gets the offload into Aoife Corey, and so smart around feeding the speed. And look, Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe's pace is outrageous, and great finish, and a great team try there.
Well, from a line out on the near side of the pitch, it goes through hands, and then if you're going to have three players, I mean, having McInerney, Corey and Amy Lee, like, that's an outstanding combo to have in space.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a huge amount around working off the ball, getting yourself into positions where you can affect change on opposite sides of the pitch, and I think Alana and Aoife did that really well there. But it all starts really with Emily Gavin's throw, Janie, it goes back to that, and brilliant, really good, set piece into three phases later into a really good try.
Glasgow, well, they were guilty of doubling up on Aoife Corey, and the mistake you make when you do that is that there's space outside. Two players coming for Corey. Briar McNamara's kickoff is massive, aimed at Corey, knocks it backwards and collects. She's going to try and run it back against Sutcliffe, the hooker. Bit of a mismatch there. And suddenly Clovers have their tails up yet again. It just feels as though Fowley is going to put a boot on it. It's a high hanging one and collected really well from Briar McNamara, who once again tears through the first tackle. She's got pace and a bit of a step about her too, and through the hands they start to move, and it's really well moved. And suddenly Glasgow look to get the ball moving and feet moving, pumping legs out of the tackle. McDonald on the short side, it's a lovely pass inside. The little kick ahead might have too much on it, had to be collected and was collected. Fowley is in the backfield, kick had just a little bit too much on it. Amy Lee Costigan on the just getting a knee down on time. The tackle is called and Clovers slow it down a little bit, and that's fine. That's how they'll want to do it. They'll need discipline now and organisation. Back to Fowley. Fowley, huge clearing kick. Ainsworth collects, and she's going to try and run it back. No, swinging it into midfield, and a big high hanging Gary Owen kick, and Corey collects it and knocks it on. And as she picks it back up again, well, that's just unfortunate from the fullback. She had it caught and then dropped it. She won't be happy with that.
No, she won't, to be fair. A rare mistake for her, but much better play from Glasgow, moving it into that space and those edges, you know, getting that mismatch with Grania Burke on the edge and coming down that wing, and then understanding too that there'll be space now on the opposite edge because they've all come in so narrow. So good play.
Well, it seems as though Sophie Barrett's day is also done. This means Saoirse Crowe is in, and that's the full front row replacement. Sophie Barrett gets a huge round of applause from the Clovers fans in the stand. And now an entirely changed front row. We do have time off. There's a couple of players being treated. Glasgow really, I mean, they're very willing carriers. They've been willing to put the head down and go into contact, but it's attritional. And for Ailey Tucker, you know, a loose head prop still on the pitch. There's 12 minutes left in this game, and she's still giving it absolutely everything here.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, we're probably used to seeing Andrew Porter doing that week in, week out for the men's teams, but no, fair play to her. She's put in an awful, you know, strong shift in relation to her impacts on the game. You know, she's had a lot of big clear outs, some really good defensive impacts, I suppose, around the tackle area. But the thing for me is, like, the last couple previous phase of play before this the drop ball is that, you know, when Glasgow started to move it towards edges, they actually look quite potent and they have that ability to be able to move the ball. It's just like, I don't know whether it's a confidence issue or an issue around, you know, players and can they actually make it, but like, if they can look to do that, then they're definitely going to improve as this kind of competition in the next few weeks.
We're going to have another reset, and this is just part and parcel of the modern game at any level. When you've replaced your front rows, there's only one still out there from the start of the game. This is what happens.
Yeah, look, I don't know much about the scrum in terms of you know, bending over and pushing. How hard can it really be? But I'm assured that it's a lot more difficult than that.
And suddenly Glasgow are on the attack again, and it's a lovely floated pass and a little step back inside. This is great work from Roma Fraser. Try score in the first half. To the deck, she's eventually brought. Glossy has to put in a huge tackle. Glasgow are queuing up for this one now. The front row all willing to carry and go, and it's a little step. That's really good work from Holland Bogan yet again. Tucker on the carry. She's short, just about. McDonald spinning it. It's through the hands, and it's Briar McNamara who gets it down, and who else but the 12 running a short line, taking the inside pass and getting it down underneath the sticks.
Yeah, and I think if any player on the park deserves to get a try today, it's her. I thought she's been a real bright spark for Glasgow, and that was really good Glasgow play, and you know, from their forwards working really hard around the corner to, you know, sucking in that Clovers D to literally taking the ball out and having an option front door and back door, and it's really difficult. And another mismatch, Briar finds herself up against a prop.
She certainly has shown great game awareness, positional sense, seems to have it all. Does the Glasgow 12, and then adds the extra 2 to her own try. And now 41 points to 19 the score. We're into the final 10 minutes of this game. Well, it's been a game of ups and downs for both sides, really.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think from a defensive connection point of view there, I think Clovers will be really disappointed. Players shooting off the line, not really connected. Players not probably connected with each other inside and out, and that leaves that big dog leg for Glasgow. And to be fair to Briar McNamara, she took it really, really well.
Kick-off aimed at McNamara and collected really well, and she is tearing straight at Anna McCann. And still going. There was an offload in there.
7, no. Originally good, then coming through the side.
McNamara with the big boots.
16. Good 16.
Aoife Corey collects just outside her 22. Finds Fowley. Fowley opts not to kick and passes back inside. And Clovers are caught, a little flat-footed. Glasgow come up in numbers. Huge carry. That's excellent work. The referee has blown the whistle. A player in from the side. I think it's against Jane Closey.
In the side.
And there had been a really, really strong carry from Grania Burke.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, they'll be a little bit frustrated. I think they kind of got caught in two minds. If Corey catches the ball and gives it to Nicole Fowley, and then it's not really sure if I can kick this. And when there's a little bit of indecision or confusion around it, that's where we see mistakes, and fair play to Glasgow for capitalising.
6.
The kick goes all the way into the 22. We're going to have another stoppage. There's another Glasgow player being treated. It's Briar McNamara. Yeah, the clock is stopped, and McNamara getting some treatment on the middle of the park, and the referee is clock is back on.
Let's go, Blue. We're good. Okay. Time back on.
So, Glasgow setting up yet again. There is a contest, but it's not crooked, and the maul is formed, and the maul is moving at a tremendous pace.
16 collapsing.
16 collapses it, and suddenly Glasgow have an advantage as Briar McNamara steps back inside and goes to the deck. Glasgow have numbers outside if they can move it to the edge. Roma Fraser stepping around McInerney. To the ground she goes, 5 metres short. Glasgow still have advantage. Bogan on the carry yet again. The number 4 has been everywhere in this second half. Kate Lindsay was on the carry, no advantage, and so we come back for the penalty.
Yeah, it was a great strip by Katrina Finn there, but unfortunately she's under an advantage rule. This is a really, really good maul by Glasgow, and they really got a really good shove on the Clovers there. The Clovers have to make a decision now whether do they go up and contest or do they stay on the ground and try and counteract this really good maul.
And so into the corner it goes yet again, and you just when it moves, it's going. That one was moving so fast, I thought it might collapse all on its own. It started disintegrating, and only for the fact that Emily Gavin was seen at the bottom of it. Well, they'll surely go again from here. This time the replacement, Megan Hyland, feeds in, and it's an awkward one, and it's overthrown. They won't get the maul. Clover players. Once again, Bogan on the carry. Closey has to stop her, and through the hands, no, short. McDonald spinning it back outside, and Clovers need to start scattering over. That's a huge tackle.
Advantage.
Emily Gavin 16. Once again caught on the wrong side, rolling away into the player. McDonald says no.
Back here, so. It's back here, you. It's back here, so.
Referee. Well, McDonald was not one bit happy. She wanted to tap and go from about 3 or 4 metres in front of where it happened. And now there's going to be a bit of a chat. Emily Gavin, who had collapsed the maul and then rolled into another player. Amy Lee Costigan is going to have a bit of a chat with them at the referee's behest.
This is the old let's slow the tempo down here now, get our breath and be ready to go for this close to the line.
So with about 5 minutes left to go, and before this goes into touch, the player of the match.
Yeah, look, obviously there was loads of really good performances. We spoke a lot around Brian McNamara for Glasgow. I thought the second row combination for the Clovers were incredibly good, very hard working, but we've gone with Enya Breen. I thought she's exceptionally led this team today. Her work rate on both sides of the ball was class, and then her try scoring assists were also excellent.
The line out malfunctions for Glasgow at a crucial moment, and Jane Clossie combines with Bailey, and the ball is kicked and hacked well clear. Clovers get out of jail. Yeah, we'll come back to what we were just discussing, the player of the match, Enya Breen, the number 12 for Clovers, who's an absolutely outstanding. That second try really was a moment of individual excellence to kick clear across the pitch.
Yeah, like we'll all talk about that, but there were so many moments around her ability to get back in game, to lead those that are around her, to be that little tip option or the cleaner in the ruck or whatever. Like, it's very selfless. She plays like a very selfless leader, and she was excellent today.
Trina Finn on the carry. That was a lovely little tip on from Fowley, and it's Grania Moran in
advantage
to the game for the Clovers. Fowley with the long kick again. Ball is bouncing awkwardly inside the 22. Referee says no advantage.
No advantage.
And so we come back. And a pin against Ailey Tucker, the loose head.
One rolling into the line.
The very same thing that Emily Gavin did just moments before, rolling out of the ruck. Nicole Fowley kicks that one into touch, and it will be Clovers line out to see out this game. Just minutes left in it. Do you think there's another score in them?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot can happen in 2.5 minutes of rugby, and there's some new players on the park now, and I'll no doubt that they'll be looking to put a little stamp or a little marker onto the coach's mind for the next day.
Jane Neal really taking superb work, and Finn once again carrying into the line. She's been excellent since she's come in, Katrina Finn. Lovely little step back inside. That's some excellent work from Clovers, finding gaps and weak spots, and little step show and go from Amy Lee Costigan, eventually brought to ground. Moran, Jane Clossie on the carry. To the ground she goes. Frawley through hands. Clovers have. It's a long way out to that try line, but they're working that ball quite well. Referee calls the tackle. Glasgow will have to move away. Ball is available. Fowley on the reverse pass back inside. To the deck it goes. It's all a little bit scrappy, but the ball is available. Grania Moran has to go digging for it. Eventually gets it out. Clovers still have to the second layer. Finn with the throw over the top, and it's been knocked on. Well, it looked to have been picked off from Proctor. And Proctor knocks it on, and he looked, if she had managed to hold on to that one.
Yeah, I think it was a bit like the Anna McGann one in the first half, when there's players that are closer to you, and if you can just, those 1-2 metre passes, they actually work because they sit defenders down, but anything long and floaty makes it really difficult. But yeah, look, I think Clovers going a little bit over and back from there, so they'll be a bit disappointed with that last phase.
Ticking into the final minute of this game. And the replacement,
Crouch.
Grania Moran,
Bind.
will have the feed. Referee. So slow to reset.
Let's go, Reds.
Come on then. Seconds.
Little chat from the referee with the front rows. He's had to work hard today as that referee, Tomas O'Sullivan.
Set.
Moran's feed, scrum, whirls around, and well, you just knew that was coming. The feed hadn't, the ball hadn't even been put in, and the thing was turning.
Just in there. Yeah, thank you.
And so we are over the 80-minute mark now. Fowley puts it to touch for one last attack for the Clovers. Next time the ball goes dead, this game is over. 41 points to 19 now. Is there still another score in the home side, who in the second half have shown moments but really have just been a bit bitty?
Yeah, look, we said at the start of the game it was going to be difficult because of the wind and the conditions, and that's probably been the case, to be fair to them. So when they've needed to, they've come up with some big plays, and to give the Glasgow their due too, they've made it a very good contest in the second half.
Bogan had the steal. It was superb work at the line out from her, and Freya Walker on the carry. Glasgow, it's a long way away to the try line, but they are going to try to work it anyway. Gemma Bell, McDonald into midfield, and it's Briar McNamara, and it's a forward pass, the tip on, and that is that in Virgin Media Park for the clash between the Clovers and the Glasgow Warriors. It's a game of rugby. The scoreline, 41 points to 19 tells a story, but it doesn't really tell the full story of the match, does it?
No, I think Clovers are really good in the first half, very clinical in terms of score to visits to 22 ratio. I think in the second half, you're dead right, it got a bit bitty, but they always kind of break up when you've got a big score, there's a lot of changes or a weather condition, and that was the case today. But fair play to Glasgow for fighting till the end.
We expected a 5-point victory. What's the takeaway for Dennis Fogarty?
Yeah, look, there's loads of really good positives for him in this, in terms of some of the the combinations, the front row. I thought the second row pairing were really, really good, and you're getting match minutes into more players. I think the big thing for him is he's able to introduce lots of young players quite early in this game, which gives him lots of good opportunities over the next few weeks as well. So loads of good opportunities for him and his coaching ticket, and small things that they'd like him sure to get better at, but I think they should be really happy with coming away today with 5 points.
Well, it's a big win, and that concludes round 7. We saw the highlights at half time of Britton Thunder's fantastic first victory of the tournament, 38 points to 32, and we saw in that highlights package just what it meant to the Welsh sides in Páirc Uí Scarlets in Clonettley. Earlier on today here in Virgin Media Park, the Wolfhounds sort of eked out a win, 21-15. It was really put up to them by the visiting Welsh side, Galway Lightning. And just now we've seen the conclusion in round 7. The Clovers 41 points to 19 winners over Glasgow, and that changes the shape of the league table somewhat. Before the match kicked off, Clovers had 2 games at hand. Now they still have 1. That one will probably be declared a draw, but there's 4 points between the Clovers and the Wolfhounds. The one loss that they've had each have been to each other. Wolfhounds winning in round 1, Clovers winning in round 2, and other than that no one has been able to touch them. Just look at those points differences that they've managed to eke up as well. 195 points for the Wolfhounds, 118 for the Clovers. Galway all the way back on plus 30. Clovers are level on points with Galway, but do have that game at hand. Next up in round 8 of the Celtic Challenge, we're going to see next Saturday, the 15th of February in Scotstoun, Glasgow versus Edinburgh. What should be a cracking game. This Glasgow team look as though they're good value for money. They'll fancy that game. They'll fancy their chances to take Edinburgh at home. Edinburgh will be smarting from their loss to Britton Thunder. So we've got some highlights. We'll have a little look at those, and then we're going to go pitch side and talk to Dennis Fogarty. Down kind of a game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm delighted. It was a bit of a frustrating team performance at times, and we're a little bit disappointed despite the result, because we don't think we put our best foot forward. Yeah, we showed good glimpses, but we really want to kind of have those good glimpses over 80 minutes as much as possible. So yeah, we're a bit frustrated, but at the end of the day, a bonus point win is brilliant, and we have to take that for what it is as well, so we got to celebrate that too.
Amy Lee's try was her first try set up by a big crossfield kick. Were you kicking and hoping, or did you know she was out there?
Oh, Lee's always out there. You always know she's going to be expecting it, so yeah, I could kind of see her in my peripheral, and I saw the space, so I just went for it, and I knew in a one-on-one race there's nobody going to beat her, so yeah, luckily she got on the end of it.
I know you said you were a little bit disappointed with some of the stuff, cohesion wise maybe, and that, but what are the positives to take out of it? A bonus point win, obviously a massive result, but what bits of the game do you think were positives to build on?
Yeah, look, we showed some great glimpses in attack. Like, once we got go forward ball, once we got into the right parts of the pitch, it was tough to stop us, and we showed great glimpses there once we were in space. And we've some world class backs, so when we can get the ball in their hands and put them into space, then they're going to be difficult to stop. And then our pack as well showed great glimpses. They're the ones that got us on the front foot to create those tries. So yeah, probably a few things to look at in defence, and once we lose momentum, but once we get front foot ball, once we get on the front foot, then it's difficult to stop us, and I think there's positives to look from there too.
Smashing. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. Danny.
There you go.
Dennis, I mean, it was a comprehensive result for a finish, and you did just mention that she was a little disappointed with certain aspects of it. Overall, out of 10?
I don't know. At the moment, I don't know. Let's just look. I judge them quite hard because I know what they're capable of actually doing. We spoke about it at half time. It was kind of getting comfortable in the last 5 minutes of the first half, and we didn't want to leak that into a second half, but struggle with momentum in the second half, even from a defensive point of view, which was a bit frustrating. But look, we learned from these things. We have to be happy with some aspects of the game, and of course the win, but we just need to minimise those errors and move on.
You're saying you have to be happy with certain aspects of the game. In particular, was there very good positives, very good things to focus on? Yeah,
I think at times our attack, we attacked quite well and got to the wide channels quite well. I think in the first half we kicked in the right places at the right times of the game. So that was really pleasing, given that was a kind of a work on for us from last week. So we just need to kind of move on. We probably should have got our maul firing a bit more, and we struggled with being sacked at times. Where, so that'll be a work on, because we can be quite effective in that area.
Okay, smashing. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Cheers.
Thank you.
And so that concludes today's double header at Virgin Media Park. Wins for the Irish sides. Wolfhounds getting their victory in the early game, and just now we've seen the Clovers defeating Glasgow. A big scoreline that doesn't really tell the full story of the game. Next up, we will be watching Next week we will be watching this Glasgow side, who have been at times quite good, outstanding in certain aspects of the game. They'll be hosting Edinburgh. That's next week. But from now, from Virgin Media Park, Dan Mooney saying thank you for joining us. Have a good day.